It's now 10:44, Jenny Jane said as she sat elegantly in the visitor chair across from the office desk, legs crossed, one hand gracefully resting on the armrest. There's still 1 hour and 47 minutes until 12:30. Mr. Vidgery, nice to meet you. She lowered her voice, shifted her legs, and a subtle smile played on her lips as she stared intently at Cesare Vidgery, almost mockingly saying, "Now, you have 1 hour and 47 minutes to convince me that you're a great agent."
Cesare remained stoic, his demeanor unchanged, only a slight ripple on his nostrils and a barely noticeable flicker in his eyes. But Jenny knew she had successfully piqued his interest. "Very well," Cesare said. "You have successfully caught my attention. Bonus points." He pulled out an empty folder, opened it with a snap, and made a symbolic gesture, asking, "Now, can we officially begin?"
3.5 months ago in Los Angeles, Jenny Jane, Chen Zhen stared at her reflection in the mirror, motionless, with a serious expression. It was a beautiful face. Jenny Jane, 20 years old, was in the prime of her life as a woman. Unlike her peers from the distant east, she had learned to apply makeup since 7th grade, and after 6 or 7 years of practice, she had mastered the art of enhancing her appearance, adding the finishing touches. And even without makeup, Jenny Jane was still considered a beauty. Her features bore strong Germanic traits, typical blonde hair, blue eyes, a high nose bridge, deep and captivating eyes, well-defined facial features, with her bright emerald eyes and long, straight golden hair, combined with her standard height of 5 feet 6 inches, 1.67 meters, and a slim figure by Caucasian standards, Jenny Jane definitely turned heads on the street. She could even enjoy the privilege of being a beautiful woman and skip the queues at some popular local nightclubs. Logically speaking, she had no reason to wear such a serious expression. Life couldn't possibly be devoid of joy for someone like her, a stunning beauty. However, she appeared genuinely unhappy now. Whether it was her tightly pursed lips or her tense posture, it all reflected her mood. Jenny Jane, or rather Chen Zhen, was currently under immense pressure. She wasn't without reason. She had traveled back in time, from 2024 to 2001, from Beijing to Los Angeles, from being Asian to being white. It was the year 2001, when computers were just becoming popular, and the internet was changing people's lives. The era of bulky mobile phones was gradually being replaced by sleek and compact ones, but Steve Paul Jobs had not yet introduced the revolutionary iPhone. Even the game-changing iPod had not been released, and would only make its debut a few months later. Chen Zhen, who came from 2024, was not accustomed to life in the early 21st century. It was a time without blog, Twitter, and Facebook. The mainstream communication tools were ICQ and MSN, names that had become outdated in the ever-changing world of technology. If it weren't for her time traveling back to early 2000s America, Chen Zhen wouldn't even remember these terms or realize how much her life had been changed by these technologies and how inconvenient life was in the early 21st century. Of course, that wasn't her biggest problem now. Her biggest problem was that she fell asleep in her Beijing home, but woke up 23 years earlier, reborn in the body of a white beauty, and with all of her memories intact. Jenny Jane Jefferson, born in 1981, Social Security number 42211 6742, comes from a disadvantaged family in Alabama. Her father is a convicted robber sentenced to over 100 years in prison. Jenny Jane has been in prison since she was 6 years old. Her mother left the family and never had any contact with them. After her grandmother passed away, Jenny Jane entered the welfare system and grew up in multiple foster homes. She completed high school 2 years ago and came to Los Angeles to work. She wanted to pursue opportunities as an actress but was unsuccessful. Currently, she works as a waitress in a restaurant. Her memories can be summarized in a few sentences. The rest of the personal information, such as her preferences and social relationships, has been filtered out as irrelevant information. In general, just like the aspiring actors in the Chinese entertainment industry, Jenny Jane is a common Hollywood hopeful. She hopes to find her place in Hollywood based on her beauty and youth. As for Chen Zhen, who is currently trapped in Jenny Jane's body, her information is as follows. Chen Zhen, born in 1982, from a middle-class family in Hangzhou. Her parents are both civil servants. She passed the college entrance examination and enrolled in the acting department of Beijing Film Academy. During her time in college, she had a relationship with a wealthy man 5 years older than her. After graduation, they got married and had a child. Due to ongoing conflicts with her husband, they are going through a divorce. Her in-laws have been gradually transferring power to her husband, who will inherit the family business. She also has several properties under her name, and it is estimated that she will receive an inheritance worth more than $30 million. At this point in time, their lives may not be too different, but in 10 years, Jenny Jane is likely to become a person with nothing in the lower class of society, while Chen Zhen will be a wealthy single woman living without financial worries. The contrast between the two is significant. If she could go back to her original body by committing suicide once, she would have already been standing on a rooftop. Going back to her original body is Jenny Jane's, or rather, Chen Zhen's most urgent desire. The reason she hasn't attempted it is because she knows that even through suicide, she cannot go back, because her rebirth comes with a mission to dominate the Hollywood. It's just these vague 5 words. When Chen Zhen woke up in Jenny Jane's body, she naturally knew this. When the day comes for her to dominate Hollywood, she can choose whether to go back or not. Setting aside the difficulty of dominating Hollywood, Chen Zhen immediately realized the logical conflict after regaining her senses. If one day she really dominates Hollywood, wouldn't she become a winner in life? If she has reached that point, why would she want to go back? The following question is, if she is here now, is there still a Chen Zhen living in Hangzhou at the same time? And if they were to meet, what would happen? Did Jenny Jane go to Chen Zhen's body? Of course, she has no way to verify this now. First, just thinking about this question gives her a physical headache. Second, even if she can endure the headache, she doesn't have the money to buy a plane ticket to Beijing, let alone the possibility that her poor and unknown status might make it difficult for her to obtain a Chinese visa. Jenny Jane graduated from high school with average academic qualifications. Her SAT scores were only half of the total points. Even if she had the opportunity to attend college, she couldn't afford the tuition. Graduating from such an unknown university, it would be difficult for her to find a high-paying job. She would probably earn more as a waitress in a coffee shop. As for Chen Zhen, she was a performing arts student in college. After graduation, she married into a wealthy family and focused on keeping her husband happy and saving money for herself. Her work skills are close to zero. Having acquired the memories and personality of 2 people, let's call her Jenny. Jane now has to consider not just going to China to find Chen Zhen, but also making a name for herself and living a life of her own. Of course, in her grand plan, she also wants to try to dominate Hollywood and return to her original life. Although she still doubts if she can really reach the point of dominating Hollywood, why bother going back? After serving at the restaurant for 2 days, Jenny's desire to escape poverty became very strong. She couldn't wait to negotiate a film contract and start her acting career, no matter how tough and tiring it is for actors. It has to be better than standing for 12 hours at the restaurant. The need to change her destiny was urgent and couldn't be delayed. Jenny took a deep breath in front of the mirror, glanced at her watch, and walked out to start her shift. Her lunch break was over, and the afternoon shift began. Yes, she is now just a restaurant waitress.